notebook, your pen, invite someone, be intentional, get ready, and just use this Saturday morning. I know you've been doing a lot of things in Saturday morning. You've watched Netflix, you've watched Coming to America. Now is the time to, get some understanding. So at CrossPoint Innovate Conference, it's the maiden edition. We are excited. I will be, towards the end, I'll come again to talk about the vote. I'll give a vote of thanks and talk about some of the things. But a lot of people have worked behind the scenes to make this happen. And this is just the beginning. CrossPoint Innovate will be helping us with trainings and giving us various kinds of conferences and trainings that will empower us. And we also plan to give out grants to certain businesses and certain entrepreneurs. So you need to be very, very open to these things and get ready for some of the things that I believe will really benefit you, right? So the greatest dignity that you can give a man is to empower him. They always say this, that instead of giving a man the fish, you teach him how to actually fish. Even when Jesus did a miracle with Peter's boat, the fishes or the fish in the sea did not just come jumping into the boat. He still had to throw out his net. So I don't want to preach a sermon. I shouldn't preach a sermon, so I won't continue with so much preaching anymore. But what we have today is going to really be beneficiary to you or benefit to you. So just sit back. But I want you to first of all start to invite people, because we'll soon get to the meat of the matter. You can go to our Instagram page and all other social media handles to begin to check what is going on. But we'll soon go right into the meat of the matter, where we'll begin to discuss things around getting the right knowledge required for you to become a better person. This is really very, very, very important to me. And the passion has been there for a while. In CrossPoint Church, we have a lot of youths, and we have seen various people, become better just by receiving knowledge and also getting some initial funding. Their lives have changed, and I believe that that is what we intend to do at this point. So please begin to share with friends. You don't know who may need this and whose life may change. Once someone is empowered, you have empowered a family, actually. So just share it among your friends and get set for a meeting that is going to really bless you. Share, 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 and share. I was talking about how at CrossPoint Church we began to realize that there are a lot of changes that will happen in our lives if we can just cooperate with natural laws and not give ourselves to only, miracles, miracles, miracles. It is well. So quickly we'll be taking it further. There are different people that will be coming in. We have different speakers for 13th, and we also have speakers for 20th. So today is 13th, and we have a great speaker that will be joining us today. But you'll hear more about his profile very soon. But to take us further, there is someone that is going to just take us further with this conference and share some things with us as we move ahead. She's also a committee member with CrossPoint Innovate. She has been working behind the scenes. She's a wife to one of our pastors, a great pastor, Pastor Dari Med. And she's going to, share some things, and we're going to take things further. So really get your pen ready, get your mind ready, and take away every distraction. And quickly, I want to tell you again to share, right? I'm not going to leave this camera or leave your faces until you start sharing. Start sharing with people. Don't be selfish. The sky is wide enough for every star to shine. Don't say, I don't want anybody to know this thing I know. Well, everybody can know, and you can still have a place to shine. You don't have to bring others down to shine. So really share with, I think some of us already have the link. Share it with a friend, share it with someone who will need it. And just gain understanding and gain knowledge. It doesn't matter even where you are at or different phases you may be in your life. It will still be of benefit to you, I believe strongly. So that being said, I will quickly want to invite Mrs. Titi Medunye to continue with us at this So please welcome CPInnovate.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Titila Medoye, and I trust again that you are excited for what is to come this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. It is such an honor to have you. This is Crosspoint Innovate. We're part of the Crosspoint Church, and we've put together an amazing program for you. And we have an amazing speaker this morning. As an entrepreneur myself, I understand the place of getting education to be able to move your business forward, or even to be able to move your career forward. So just before I introduce the speaker, I'd like to quickly go over his bio so that we know who is coming, we're expectant, and we're excited. Onyeka Akuma is a serial entrepreneur. He is the founder and CEO of FarmCrowdy, Nigeria's first digital agriculture platform, with a network of over 420,000 farmers as at January 2021, connecting them with finance, market access, and technical expertise across all states of Nigeria. Onyeka was recently named one of Africa's Person of the Year, winning the Agricultural Champion of the Year 2020 across the continent for the work and impact FarmCrowdy has had on hundreds of thousands of farmers. Onyeka was appointed to the e-Agric Stakeholders Forum by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Nigeria, and was also named one of the youngest members of the Honorary Council of the Abuja Chambers of Commerce and Industry. He has been featured as one of the top 50 disruptors, of 2020 by the Africa Report, and listed as one of the 2020 top 50 innovators to watch across the globe by Globe Shakers. A software engineer turned digital agriculture entrepreneur, Onyeka continues to lead a new generation of millennials excited about the potential of agriculture, its romance with technology, and the benefits for the continent of Africa. I'm super pleased to introduce this to you this morning, Mr. Onyeka Akuma.
Hello. Okay. A quick second. Let me connect my. Oh, I'm not going. All right. Good morning, everyone. I know it's a fantastic Saturday. I don't know about you. I'm in Lagos, and last night we had some very good weather in the city of Lagos. It's drizzled a bit. It rained in some parts of Lagos. So today is a bit chilled, and I'm very excited about using this chilled morning to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about, especially in businesses. My name is Onyeka Akuma, and I'm the CEO of both FarmCrowdy and Plenty Waka. This morning, I'll be talking to you about building structures for business growth. And I will be speaking to you pretty much from a place where I'll be taking out of my experience of working with startups from 2010 to date, and then speaking to you about my experience there, and then how we've been able to build business structures in the businesses that I've worked in. I have a slide to present, so I'm I hope everyone that is joining me will be able to see this through my laptop. And so let me kick into it. So just a bit about me. Some of you may not know this, but I failed in one company before, and it was a company that taught me a lot of lessons. But also, I've sold 2 companies, and in selling 2 companies, I've made over $10 million in selling those 2 companies. I've had over 400 people in my career. I'm also, sorry, can you see my slide? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, 1 second. Maybe I'll use, you can see my screen though. Okay. Can you see it now? Just my screen. Oh, 1 second. Let me see. Just 1 second. So okay, welcome back. Sorry about that technical issue, but I think my slides now are running, and I'm quite excited about running through this. I was talking about, may not, I've failed in one company, and I was saying that I was getting from lessons in company through my slide in structuring businesses for growth, and then also I have sold two companies. Combined, you would talk about $10 million in the combined sales companies. Hired over 400 people in career. Active in two companies, both family and plenty worker. Co-founder of four startups, Rent Small Invest, in addition to Farm Crown and plenty worker. I love football. I play a lot of games. Actually, if you put the screen, I football like Mr. Cam. I need a lot. Sorry, all Arsenal fans. I don't like Arsenal for anything. I love pounded yam and any soup. I enjoy movies. I enjoy traveling, table tennis, chess, music. I've sang in the choir for over 20 years. I'm quite critical of won over 23 awards in my career. Now, coming into this, I'm just looking to the second point I talked about my business. People would ask me, why do businesses fail? 9 out of 10 businesses fail in their first 2 years. And then you have 5 out of 10 businesses that survive that fail in their 4th year. You hardly find Nigerian startup businesses or even businesses across the world that survive up to the 5th year, talking about doing it up to the 10th year. General things I have noticed have been lack of funding, inadequate management team, which speaks to structure, which I'll talk about, faulty business models, unsuccessful marketing initiatives, even how they approach marketing from the stage where they're small, and the fear to scale. Some other people will say, what do I need to avoid failure in business? The most common thing I've heard is I need to get an MBA, and everybody wants to get a Harvard degree. Or you get one rich uncle or auntie in Aso Rock. Or I get $1 million in funding, and then I won't fail. Now, it will interest you to know that even the business that I failed in, at the time when I started out that business, 2 things worked for me in the things that people will be excited about doing in their own business. One was I got funding, and 2, I got traction, but still it failed. What people don't know is that there are processes to go through in deciding how you're going to structure your business for growth. And what I've done with my slides is try to divide that into 2 sections. The first section will speak to the foundation years, and the second section will speak to the established years in your business. I had to do that because, I mean, depending on who is watching this and who is listening, your business may be in the stage where you're just starting out and you're getting into your 2nd year, or you're in the stage where you're already established and you're just looking at setting up a solid structure for your business. And so, speaking to the foundation years, I'll talk about getting it right with your co-founders, starting small, market to win your first customer and make them resell. I'll speak to remodeling with feedback channels. I'll speak to hiring right. I'll speak to firing the wrong people. I'll speak to getting capital, not just money. And then I'll speak to building the culture that lasts. This is all talking about the foundation years. So let's get into it. Let me start with the first one. How do you get the right co-founders? It will shock you that I've gone to events and I've seen people say they are looking for co-founders in events. I've seen a person come into an event and an idea pops up in his head, and the first thing he says is he looks around and he hears 2, 3 people talking about the same idea, and it's like, maybe that's my co-founder. Let me ask you, if you were going to be dating a lady, is that how you go about it? Or you say, let's leave it from dating a lady, you're getting married. Is that how you select who your wife will be? I mean, some people have had luck doing that, but most people don't. You need to do what I call your due diligence in selecting your co-founders. And bear in mind, see, I've had the experience of having co-founders that had over 20 years experience in the area that I wanted them to work with me, but they didn't last 4 months with me in the business. Now, it's not all about experience, but more about passion, more about people that bring complementary skills, more about people that you have history before that idea with. My ideal co-founders, I mean, with what the pictures I have there, these are people that are, if I'm going to take a cue from what David did with his 300 generals, initially when he got them, they were people that he worked with and they were called peasant men. But eventually they turned into major generals that each one of them could skill at least 400 people in battle. Now, it didn't start from that with David the first time when he was hiding in caves. And this speaks to also how I've been able to identify co-founders to work with me. Many of them don't come from places where you have all the Harvard degrees or you have all the essentials that people call experience and work, 20 years, 50 years experience, and they'll bring all of that to make it work. These are people, though, that come with, one, the same level of passion as I have in the business that I'm going out to chase, and two, these are people that come with also the a level of complementary skill. So I may be good in marketing, he's good in technology, the other person is good in finance, speaking to also how we were able to assemble a team in Farm Crowdy. Or people that, and then people, not all, people that have history with you. The average co-founders for me in the businesses I've found, I've had an average of 5 years relationship with them before starting up those businesses. You don't want to go to bed or you don't want to get into marriage with someone that you don't know anything about. Two is starting small. Now, a lot of people talk about starting small, and people try to talk about starting small without actually dreaming big. Starting small doesn't mean you stay small. Starting small allows you to model your business in such a way that you can de-risk it at the point where you don't have too many customers. I use an example. When we started out in Farm Crowdy, we had the first poultry farm that allowed us to raise about 500 birds with a lady in Ibadan. That was our first project. We went about raising those birds, and then by the 4th month, we went about harvesting those birds to sell them. Now, what happened was, when we were moving the birds from Ibadan to Lagos to sell, our truck broke down. There were a lot of issues around the process. We lost about 300 of those birds. 300 of those birds is 60% of the entire investment in that project was wasted. Imagine that was 5 million birds. The business would have been dead from day one. We've moved on from there to learn the different mistakes we've made, evolved from just raising 500 birds to 2,000 to 100,000. We've now done over 3 million chickens that we've raised in our farms. And these chickens are sold in many of the eateries that you have across the city of Lagos and maybe in Abuja. And what we have today is mortality rate that sits around 4%. In starting small, it allows you to mitigate against the risk that you will face if you were a big business. And that allows you to deal with them very early on and build systems that will allow you grow that model eventually when you scale. Also, marketing. Now, I tell people that the best companies we celebrate, the CEOs of these companies are great salesmen. I heard that even the likes of Jeff Bezos for about 10 years was pitching Amazon with the same pitch from event to event. I see average CEOs, or I see early CEOs of businesses start out in their business, and I go into events and then we say, oh, who has a question to ask? My ideal way a CEO should tell me he has a question to ask would be, hello, I have a question. My name is Onyeka Kuma. I'm the founder and CEO of Farm Crowdy. Farm Crowdy is a digital agriculture platform that connects over 400,000 farmers with access to finance, access to the right expertise, and where to sell their markets at the end of harvest. Now, my question is, that's how to sell. Now, but you find CEOs come into places, they don't know how to sell their business. They don't know, over the course of this period, I pitched to you my business. Without you knowing, it sticks in your head. Find avenues to sell and fight to win the first customer. And once you get that first customer, look for ways within your system that allows that customer to resell your business. In reselling your business, you reduce your marketing costs. If your customer is the one that is telling other people about your business, it grows fast. That was how we grew Plenty Waka, where we moved about 100,000 people within the first 6 months. In the first month, we only moved roughly about 400 people. By the second month, we were moving about 2,000 people. By our 6th month, we had moved 100,000 people with zero marketing budget. That is how you find a team that is able to take on the responsibility of building systems that allows you to sell, winning the first customer, and making sure they are able to become ambassadors for you in your business. The other thing I've come to see that is important in establishing your business, especially in the early stage, is remodeling. Now, speaking about remodeling, the best form of remodeling you can do in your business is paying attention to the feedback you get from your early customers. Now, in getting feedback, you will take the, so you have customers that are early adopters of new ideas or new businesses. They are the ones that are important for you to build your business model. In taking that feedback, you will consistently be working out how to improve your business to meet your customers' needs time and time again. Now, in all my slides, I have tried to put some tips there. So to everyone that is watching, assuming I'm a bit fast with the slides, I think you will eventually get the slides so that you can see all the tips I put there. But pay attention to this. After all your planning, the market tells you whether you've done it right or wrong with your business model. It's not your business plan. Now, I see a lot of entrepreneurs spend, a lot of them, especially first-time entrepreneurs, I've seen a guy spend 2 million naira building a business plan on paper that he has not launched. And the day he launched the business, it took him only 4 months to close the business. So what was the use of 2 million naira in spending so much to build that business plan? And a lot of people will tell you they won't start their ideas without that business plan in place. My ideal way of launching a business is to first find a way to get your business canvas that gives you different points around your business to understand and build on. And 2, get a pitch deck, pretty much 12 to 15 pages that talks entirely about your business in text and pictures. The best business plans are built 1 year into the business or 2 years into the business, after you have proven your MVP can work and you've gotten feedback from your early customers and you keep on remodeling. Also, hiring right cannot be overemphasized in building business structures. And in hiring right, even with me hiring over 400 people in my career, I've still hired wrong. But what I'm not scared of doing is firing when I see a misfit in my system. Now, in hiring right, the way I've now discovered that you can do this as an entrepreneur and get it done properly is where you hire based on your culture or business culture or core values of a business. So first stage, and if I use an example of how we do it in my businesses now, is first stage, you come in based on competence. So we bring you in, you have a great CV, we're excited about you have first class in, and you have a second degree, you have a distinction, you have a PhD, fantastic, come on board. The second level is how do you interact with the people you'll be reporting to? And then the third level is how do you fit with our core values? You may pass through the first 2 stages, but at that third interview, where we're testing you with our core values, if you're an arrogant person, you won't fit in our team. If you're a person that has issues working with teams, you will not fit into it, especially if the role we want you to come in for is one where you're going to be working with people. Your core values should be the Bible of what you use to select the people that come on your team. And when you get it wrong, please be quick to let them go because they would spoil the good heads you have in your team. And people talk also about capital. I tell people that capital goes beyond money. Capital includes mentors, capital includes your peers, capital includes your integrity as a person, capital includes charisma. I mean, in launching businesses, you may not have all the money in the world to get it off the ground like every other person would, but you would have the right people in your network that will contribute to you getting that business off the ground. You have the right charisma to speak to people and convince them about buying into your idea. You have the integrity to say that this is what you would do and that is what you did at the time you said you would do it. And so people start paying attention to you from a place where if that is your personnel, it translates to what your business will be, and then they can trust it and gradually you grow. That is capital. And then for now established businesses, just speaking to them, when people talk about established businesses, I'm talking here about business between maybe you've been running your business, you've tried out the MVP, you've gotten your first set of customers. Now you just want to build structures that allows you to grow that business. The things I would speak to for established businesses will include that the fact that you need funding and now you need money, building a reputable brand, creating standard operational protocols, building teams and leaders with sub-leaders, learning to delegate, automating your processes where necessary, and keep learning. So I'll spend the remaining time I have, speaking about what established businesses, and which makes up a lot of the people, I guess, that will be on that are on this call, around what established businesses should pay attention to as they look at building structures for their business. So let's get right into it. And then just to highlight here, if you have questions, there's also going to be a session at the end of this where you can ask your questions and we'll spend time talking through them. You can also send in your questions. You can send your questions virtually, whether it's on the social media channels or send your questions on the Zoom channel. And then we get to pick the questions, common questions, we merge them together, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'm going to spend more time answering questions than presenting on my slides, because to everybody that is out there, I'm sure you have your own unique problems you're dealing with in your business. I want to see how I can not just tell you what I know about mine, but see how I can help you do better with your business structure. So let's get into established leaders in your businesses and what you should pay attention to. Now, people talk about capital, and people say, I want to raise funding. But many times I see entrepreneurs, especially first-time entrepreneurs, say they want to raise funding maybe 6 months, 1 year into the business, and they forgot to keep track of how the business has been progressing from day one. Or they forgot to keep their accounts properly. Or the founder and the business accounts are the same. And so every time a customer is paying, it's moving into your personal account. You don't even know the difference between what you're making and what the business is making. Common mistakes that first-time entrepreneurs make. The things you need to know when you're fundraising is that investors pay attention to these key things. One, the team behind the business. In the team behind the business, they want to see, do you have a history before that idea around experience that will count for that business becoming a success? Do you have a team of people around you that have complementary skills to allow you to grow the business? And then it comes into, what traction do you have to date? Traction is the #1 reason why businesses are valued the way they are. Today we celebrate a lot of tech startups that have come up and have done tremendous stuff around fundraising. Recently we had another tech startup that was valued at $1 billion in Nigeria. That was announced just 3 days ago. And everybody's celebrating it. But when I tell you, I say, look at what their revenues were. Most times when you get to certain levels in your business, the reason why you can raise money at certain levels is 2.5 times your revenue. That is your value of your business. And so if you're going to be raising good money to grow your business, pay attention to how much you are actually making in revenue and keep attention to your traction. I also said keep records of your progress from day one. This is something that's very important. Chronicle your business progress. Tell a story that is convincing enough to tell the investor that the market you're serving is not for 100 people, it's not for 1,000 people, but it's for 1 million people, it's for a city, it's for a country, it's for a continent. The bigger the market is, the more challenging it is in forming that business model, but eventually the more convincing you will be to investors about putting their money in you to grow that business idea. So pay attention to these things as you look around going for funding. Also read good books. Books, for me, help me in deciding when is it time for me to fundraise, when is it time for me to sit back, when is it time to grow the business value in order to get the right kind of value that brings in the money that I'm looking for. The second thing is branding. And in branding, I tell people, I say, building a solid brand starts first with the name of the business. You want to make sure you pay attention to what you're calling your business. Does your business sell toothpicks, but the name sounds like you're selling wires? Does your business sell books, but it sounds like you are selling something completely different from that? Or is your business memorable enough for people to remember? Does it stick when I call the name? I tell entrepreneurs that I enjoy the naming ceremony of businesses, if you put it that way. I enjoy that process of trying to find the right name for a business and conceiving an idea and then naming it. As soon as I have an idea, I want to name it in 1 week so that I have a name that I can start calling the business and it starts taking its form. in naming my businesses, let me use examples of the ones I have and the 4 different businesses, just to tell you how I name businesses. Farm Crowdy. The name Farm Crowdy came from a crowd of people farming. Now, when we had the idea of having a crowd of people farming, initially we called it crowd farming. Eventually, we flipped it the other way and then called it Farm Crowdy, and it kind of stuck with people over time. Rent small, small. If I say rent small, small, I think you get it immediately, what I'm talking about. It allows people to pay rent on a monthly basis, as against paying your rent annually in Nigeria, in Lagos. And so if I want to stay in Lekki, rather than paying 2 million naira rent to stay in Lekki, I will be paying 200,000 naira monthly, and it fits with my salary, and that allows me to pay my rent. Over 500 people are doing that. Crowdivest. Now, Crowdivest name came from, the Vest part looked into the investment bit, but the crowd of people investing was where the Crowdivest name came from. Plenty Waka. If you're in this part of the country, or in this part of the world, you understand that Waka means movement in Pidgin. And so the concept of Plenty Waka didn't want to focus on plenty buses, because we started with buses. Because in the future, we will find a place where Plenty Waka will not just serve you with buses, but will serve you with maybe cars, will serve you with scooters, will serve you with bikes. And so the idea of Plenty Waka was getting people to move across cities, and then doing it in such a way that they had a name that people could relate with. You find so many other businesses that have come up. The meaning of Jumia in Arabic is market. The well that you can dig to bring resources out was one named Konga. Amazon, he was coming up with a name because he wanted to own, he wanted to have the everything store. And at that time, the biggest forest he could look at that had everything was the Amazon forest. In deciding a name, you want to make sure you pay attention to what is it you're going to be selling. Take time to come up with a name that is unique. Don't have a name that has too many RRRXX. I see names and then the person tells me his name, the name of his business is Arox, and if in the Arox he puts AROXXXXY. It makes it very difficult for me to remember. If I type it on Google, I may not remember you have 3 X's there. I'll put only 2, or I put only 1. You want to avoid things that will not let people remember the name. It's got to stick the first time they hear it and they remember it. It starts with the name, and then it goes into your brand colors. It goes into also how you continue to keep to your promises. Brands are solid brands because they keep to their promises. Even when it hurts, they keep to their promises to their customers. They keep to their promises that when you call their phone, they will pick and attend to your problems in 24 hours. And they do that. They keep to their promises that when you send a request to their application, you will get the answers you need. Brands are built on keeping to promises. And this starts from the CEO at the top to the gate man and the professionalism he shows to customers at the gate. The second thing is creating standard operational protocols and procedure manuals. Now, this is really important because over time, you get to see a lot of repetitive activities that happen in the company, and you want to have processes that allows you to handle them in a systematic way where if I'm not the one that is getting you to do certain tasks in the company and somebody else is going to get you to do the same task, you would do it exactly the same way I would have done it if I was there. Also, if I'm no longer in the organization and you have continuity plans in place that allows the next person that is coming to organization to understand how things are done, it is important to have such procedure manuals and structural and standard operational protocols to allow you to manage your businesses effectively. You need to document this, and that's why those manuals come into place. And so when people are coming on board, any of my firms, you have to go through that process of going through those manuals, understanding how we operate, to understand how we do the things we do, so that you do not deviate from it, because that is what has gotten us to where we are today, that makes you excited about joining us as a company. So I can't speak so much about this. I want you to dwell on it, understand how you build your standard operational protocols for your business. To each business, it's unique, what you get in each business, and so you can make sure that you build your procedure manuals to fit what your business does. Build team of teams. Now, this is really important in setting out your structure for your business. You need to find ways of avoiding key man risk, including you, the CEO. If you're sick today, will that business be sick with you on the sick bed? If that man that you depend on to do everything in your business is no longer available, are you going to crumble as a business? One thing I pay attention to do across the different businesses that I run is to make sure that I always have a vice to every person. So a deputy to every key person in my team. If you're running finance, I must have somebody that I can go to that is under you, that you're building in case you're not available. It's as simple as that. Making sure that you have people within your team. Always get someone else on the team that understands everything your star man knows. Because tomorrow, several things can inform why the guy may leave. It may be someone will offer him 3 times the salary you're offering him. It may be he just has to relocate. It may be health reasons. For whatever reason, you may find yourself at a major junction where you have to deal with your key man not being available to run the functions that he needs to do in your business. And so you need to pay attention to getting deputies across your business, including the CEO. You need somebody that, and this is something that we've effectively done across the different businesses. When we exited Crowdivest, it was easy for me to say that the managing director of Crowdivest, and this is how I've been able to run the different businesses. So at different times, I've had managing directors for each business. I function as CEO, but these guys are the ones on the ground helping me to execute on this business. And I'll speak to delegation next after this. But to each one of them, they have the responsibility to make sure that they study me, they understand how I do my things in the business. I do my best to train. I do my best to replicate myself in them, such that if I'm not available at any point in time, they can step into that role and perform. To each one of them, they have people under them that are doing the same thing, that are understanding them. And this is how you effectively build businesses that will outlive you as the founder of the business into the next generation and third generation and the fourth generation. Keying into the key man race is also delegating. Now, you don't just hire key men and then have deputies, and you as the CEO still wants to do everything. You don't want to let go, and people just feel like, oh, they're not as good as I am. They won't perform as well as I would if I was the one running the business. Who told you? Every one of us that is running a business today, we too were employees. Every one of us that is running a business today, one day we were students. Students become lecturers. Lecturers go out and then more students become lecturers. It's a cycle. And every day people get better and smarter. In delegating, in order to manage the risk level in delegating, is where you start small. I remember one of my businesses where I had to travel for about 4 months during our fundraising exercise, and I had to let go of some of the tasks in that business to somebody else to run. It started with a small task in finding and identifying key people in my team that were ready to take on the responsibility to run the business effectively. And so in giving them those small tasks, they showed that they were trustworthy with those small tasks to work on it and do their best to get the results that I needed on those businesses, on those tasks. And so in delegating, I started small with them and started increasing their responsibilities over time to a point where I can now spend time off the business if I have to. Well, I'm so engaged with them, but if I have to, I can spend time off them, and I know that these guys will deliver exactly what I want. In delegating, start small. Find those people that are ready to take on the responsibility of doing the things that you will put in their hands to do at that small level, and start growing it with them. If you fail at this, you may work the rest of your life. And I don't know about you, I don't want to be working hard as I want to work tomorrow in the future where I just enjoy doing it, not because I have to. I want to be in a place where I'm able to set up several businesses and employ so many people working and creating value and having impact in society, replicating myself in 1,000, 10,000 people, and then giving the results that I would have given if I was each one of them. Delegate to your next set of leaders in small ways, increase the responsibilities over time, and then allow them to shine. Where they shine, give them the commendations, tell them how excellent they've done. When they don't shine, show them what they did wrong without doing it from a place of rebuke. Show them how to do it better and watch them grow. Leadership is about being a strong shepherd that guides your team into becoming exemplary leaders like you would be if you were in their shoes. And then one other thing that I see a lot of people may be scared of is the advent of technology and what it does in the workplace. I tell people that if you do not automate, very soon you'll find your place in a junction where someone will take on systems. You'll be doing the same thing with another person that has found ways of using technology to solve those problems, and you'll be struggling because you're using your manual effort, you're using your physical effort to get that done, and that person does it seamlessly with technology. Case in point, I have an appointment to make. There's Google Calendar that can remind me about when I need to get to that appointment. Why then will I want to crack my head consistently and be writing in books to find out which appointment I'm supposed to be doing now or which one I'm supposed to be doing tomorrow? It can help me organize my task over the next 1 month. There's Calendly that can integrate into all my different, even into my emails, to allow people to select appointments, to allow people to select the times based on where I'm available. There's several automation tools out there, project management automation tools. There are system automation tools that will allow you to build your standard business structures. Accept the fact that these tools were made to make your life easier, make it more efficient, and make you deliver better quality service to your customers. So to every area you can accept to take on automation tools and improve them in your business, please go ahead and do them. One of my favorite quotes on businesses, and that is for me, I tell people a lot, is every time I'm trying to make a decision in my business, I find a book that helps me learn more about that decision I want to make. And the days when we're trying to restructure Farm Crowding into a holding company to then have several businesses under it, I had to read 2 books within that period of 2 months that focused around restructuring my business, that focused around remodeling my business. Every time I have to go out to do a major marketing campaign, I have a book in my, and everyone that has been to my office will see that I have that book in the office. I have that book on my phone. It's called Blitz Scaling by Reid Hoffman. I read that book, but I am careful not to read it every time because it requires you to spend a lot of money in marketing, but it tells you some very interesting strategies. So I read it only when I'm ready. But I have that book for marketing. I have books for fundraising that I go back to revise on and read on. I consistently read books to learn what people have done that have succeeded in the areas that I'm going to in my business and what people have done that have failed in the areas that I'm going to in my business so that I can learn from both worlds and do it better. Every leader running your business should focus on how you continue to improve your learning, how you continue to improve your systems, how you continue to relearn, how you continue to check your system and find what you need to fine-tune to make it better. Keep studying, observing, keep your eyes open, improve the process, and gradually you continue to grow in structure. The last thing I'm going to say is, don't be scared to scale once you find that right business model to go with. Now, in scaling, a lot of people will, so I built a business and I say to myself that I'm serving 1,000 customers, I'm serving 10,000 customers, and that's where I want to stop. If you're not excited about scaling, you will open up a business opportunity to several other people to see and understand that there is tremendous impact I can have here and value I can create for myself. They will take your template and leave you where you stopped at 10,000 people and turn that business opportunity into a 100,000 people customer base, into a 1 million people customer based on you starting and stopping at 10,000. Don't be scared to scale as soon as you've understood your business model from beginning to end, where you've mitigated the risk to the barest minimum. Don't scale too quick. Start small, learn risk, deal with the risk, observe how to get funding, get the right people on the team, put standard processes in place, and then scale. So on this point, I will be ending this presentation. Like I said earlier on, if you have questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat area. Go ahead and send them on social media. I'll be spending some time talking about the questions. I will also share my slides so that anyone that wants to go through some of the things I've talked about here can do so on the slides. But I also, at this point, I also want to say thank you to CrossPoint for having me here. I'm excited about speaking to all the entrepreneurs or the business leaders that are building their business structure. Thank you to the convener of this, Ladi, Mr. Ladi. Thank you very much for having me here, and I'm quite excited to get this rolling. So I look forward to your questions, and I'll be spending time answering them after this. Thank you.